not married and they're doing this incredible.
Well, there's a myriad of things. I think first of all we have to go back to writer. You are very well known for your teaching skills. Your students speak a whole lot about you.
Miss Nigeria competition.
And I said, let's pick them up, let's take them back to Nigeria, and let's teach them a different kind of job.
If you have your cup of coffee at the end of the day and you get to this point, you haven't had one interaction with a woman or two, then you're absolutely missing on something. And which is why we've decided at this point to remedy that, bring you the show, The Woman. My name is Elizabeth, and I'm sure your guess is as good as mine. Who is she going to be with? It's a lady that you have heard her name severally. Very importantly, you may have seen her. She is a CEO. She is an entrepreneur. She is a humanitarian. She is a very strong voice with politics. But who this guess is, you will be guessing. Now I take a break and bring her lead after break. The show is a woman, and I told you my guest is someone you would like to interact with. Apart from the fact that I call her very Amazonic politician, she's also very pretty. Princess Zahra Audu.
Yes, thank you. It's nice to be on your show this morning.
Thank you very much, and thank you for welcoming me to your home. It's a lovely place.
Thank you very much for coming over.
All right. Last December I tried to put a track on you, even though it wasn't quite active, but I know that I got something out of you. Your gala night with the women.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
It was fun,
Yeah.
and I was wondering, how did you arrange that?
Well, I also happen to be the zonal woman leader of the North Central All Progressive Congress, and which typically means that I am duty bound to bring together the women within the North Central and spearhead our political activities as women. So of course I thought the morale was a bit low end of last year for some reason, and I felt there was a need to re-energize our women and get them ready for our election year 2023. So we decided to bring all our state women leaders to Abuja, bring all our strong stakeholders. You can see we had ministers from the North Central, we had commissioners, we had first ladies from the North Central, deputy first ladies, and all the critical stakeholders from our zone who also happen to be members of our party, the All Progressive Congress. Of course, we were going into an election year, so it was important to me that we were interacting with our party stakeholders.
When you talk about women, I see a lot of passion in you, but I often wonder, women get reticent when it comes to being active in the politics. But for several years, you have been there, wholeheartedly. And I know you're running other businesses, it didn't affect it. You're running your home, it didn't affect it. But I'm wondering, what is that audacious capacity you have, that is pushing you on in politics?
It's a funny one. Lots of people wonder. I never played politics and saw myself as a woman. I just saw myself as someone who had interest in politics. And it wasn't even so much that I was a politician. I was more of a social reformer. I just believed that Nigeria needed something different and something better. And I knew, even while I lived in the UK, while I lived in America, I always knew that how one day I would come home and try and do things differently. So that had always been my thing.
So you weren't taken by, surprise into what you're doing?
No, simply because I kind of think what I'm doing now. I mean, yes, people target the name politician, and it took me a very long time to be able to accept that title because, honestly, for a long time, I saw politics as a dirty game. I saw women in politics as, being honest, being loose women or women that, I fell into the Nigerian stereotype of what a woman in politics has to do, or you need to be with this person, or you need to act a certain way, or you need to come and be a chorus singer, at occasions.
A certain kind of rapper.
Or be rowdy and be in the market shouting party slogans and all that kind of stuff. So initially, when I wanted to come into politics, I did not want to come in to be a woman leader. I'll be honest with you, that would have been the last choice. But then God gives you what He feels you need at that point in time. And I've seen it's been a blessing. I have made some of the best friends, female friends in politics. We've bonded like sisters, like family. I wouldn't regret it. In fact, being with these women have actually given me the strength to be able to excel a lot more than I had previously within my political ventures. So no, it's been an exciting experience. In terms of business, politics is seasonal, if you understand, especially when you play party politics.
Okay.
It comes and it goes. Gearing up to election is a very, very busy period, and then it slows down again. And I believe every single politician should have something they're doing outside politics because it helps you to be a more moral and upright person. I'm principled because I've not made any of my money from politics. So I can stand and look at anybody. I've sat with our president, I'll be honest with you, and I've said my mind. Those people will think, what, Zahra, did you say that? But I can say it because you simply don't feed me, and I'm here for a different reason. I'm here to make a difference. Do you understand? So for me, my game, when I play, is different. I don't go into settings because I'm looking for who is going to give me some money or who is going to help. No. I'm going in because I want my voice to be heard. I want the people who believe in me. I want to be able to deliver the message that they've sent me. Or I want to see a difference. I want to be part of making a real difference. So I'm playing politics that I believe would lead to me having a legacy over a long period of time. So I'm really patient. I take my lows and I take my highs, and it doesn't stop me. I wake up the next morning and I keep going because I know I'm not playing for the now. I know that if I'm patient enough, inshallah, I have long life. I would outlive many of the things I'm going through now, and I would live to see a better Nigeria one day.
Okay, now you are a woman leader. You've been leading women so far. What would you say is our biggest challenge?
Biggest challenge with leading women is that how women find other women as some form of competition, right? And then another thing that a lot of people don't know is that how when you express yourself politically and you come out and you're a strong voice, or even you're identified as a woman, the first thing a male politician thinks is, oh, woman leader or minister of women. Even when they want to say, oh, you're going to get something big, they'll say, oh yes, you'll be a good woman of women affairs. And I'm thinking to myself, no, I don't want to.
So what's wrong with being economic here?
You know what I mean? I want to compete in the same seats that you want to compete. You know what I mean? So they put you in that box automatically. So that's one. Then in terms of women not being able to get, especially in this dispensation, it's quite embarrassing, to be honest with you, simply because we dropped from having seven female senators in the Senate to having 3. I think that's a very poor number.
Sure,
and it's the first one, it's all the political parties, and it's simply because the environment for politics, especially when we have the two major players, the APC and the PDP, is hostile
To women?
to everybody. To both men and women, it's extremely competitive. At some point, it's extremely expensive, it's extremely competitive, it's extremely dangerous. So even when we find that we are more qualified, we are more eloquent, we are better for the job, we are better placed, we just won't excel because we don't excel when it comes to brute force. Do you understand? We don't excel when it comes to financial capacity. The men just have a better deal in Nigeria simply because they get the bigger contracts, they get the bigger opportunities. We've had more male ministers than we've had female ministers. So we're not saying that we want you to just give it to us on a platter, but some considerations have to be made moving forward for us to be able to at least even start to find our footing, and then we can carry on with it. And then also I feel like how it's because the women work so hard during the elections, it's also very possible for the president who comes in which is, God willing, our president, the incoming president, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to consider more women for political appointments, so that would be like a stepping stone towards the next election cycle to help more women be able to come out. And for women who are considered, to help support their fellow women.
Yeah,
because
the support
I have
system.
seen so many women who get positions and have never done anything tangible for any other woman. They just basically, in fact, they help more men than women. So we need to change that cycle of helping ourselves and working together, and hopefully things would get better.
You talked about some of the problems women face, getting there. And I know that within the public eye, and a lot is said about rumors, tarnishing names and all of that. And even though you may not have gone for elective post, I know that such things will still follow you. How do you handle negative comments?
One of the major things for me that I've been fortunate with is the fact that so my husband was actually, or is the main politician in our family. And I was more of a supportive role before I stumbled in and then just, sort of found my way in it. But then all the circles I find myself in, my husband's never really far away. In fact, in our party, they joke about it. They're always like 5 and 6. Where's number 6? Or where's no? You know what I mean? We're always kind of we are more or less around each other a lot of the time. So I think it helps. I haven't heard, but of course people talk behind people's back. But then again, I have never been accused or been associated with anybody politically, simply because that's not my game. I'm not interested. I don't. In fact, I rarely ever smile when I'm in a political setting. So I'm not even the friend. I'm going for business. I'm not here to entertain you. I'm not here to be another pretty face. Let's do what we came for, and face the business of the day. So I haven't really experienced it, but I know a lot of women have. I don't push anything too hard, because I don't want you to put me in a situation where I might have to compromise my values or my principles or what I actually believe in, simply because so I don't want anything so hard. If I can't get it, I'm evolving to get the next, and I'm believing, okay, maybe that wasn't right for me. And then there's always an opportunity politically. You never truly lose. You never ever truly lose. If you want to be a good politician, you just have to learn to keep evolving, take the punches and keep moving. If it doesn't work, okay, so how could I have done it differently? You think about that and then you move on to the next thing. So
when you talk about punches, I recall a punch, maybe to me it was a punch, for you it may not have been, when your husband and yourself were with the Progressive Youth Movement.
Right.
And there was a kind of a controversial discussion going on. How did you handle that?
Controversial, you see, with politics, you will always find yourself in weird situations, especially because you go into things with a lot of people and people want different things out of it. And I had to learn this the hard way, but there's this thing, all fingers are not equal, and they're not equal for a reason, because that's how God created us. So you go in, right? I remember one time, and I can even say this on video because, thankfully I still have a good relationship with the president-elect Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So when we were at the heat of the PY and the Progressive Youth Movement, one of our early leaders who reached out to us. I mean, all the other leaders used to send messages, hang in there, you guys are doing a good job, blah, 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 but the only person who actually personally reached out to us was our incoming president, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And we were in Lagos, and he gave us 4 hours of his time in a room with it was myself, my husband, one other member, and his PA. So in total, there was just 5 of us in this room. And this man gave us 4 hours of his time to understand what we were doing. And after speaking with him in depth, we left, and then everybody went on and said, there's no way they saw Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu and he didn't give them money. And it was hilarious because up until tomorrow, I have never exchanged physical money with Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu before ever. We've always had that neutral, we'd go, we have a conversation with our leader, he talks to us, we talk to him, and we move. It's always been like that, simply for 2 reasons. One, he was very good friend with my husband's late dad. So of course he knows that, yes, we're young politicians, but we're young politicians who actually have our own money. Not because, I'm not saying because we are better than anybody else, but because God blessed us. We inherited money. It's the reality of it. So we can play politics differently. We don't have to do the sins of the father lives with us. We can be different. We can be better than the pedigree that we are coming from. And that's what we've tried to do.
Now, I know that being the politician you are, it's something you're doing with passion. Prior to rolling the camera, I also know you have your passion as a wife and mother.
Absolutely.
And I see you and your husband, like you mentioned, 5 and 6. Sometimes
Yes.
I actually think he's 5.5.
We're together a lot.
You know,
Absolutely.
so I'm like, how is she able to cope being wife and mother at the same time? You know, radiating 3 lovely daughters.
Well, it's interesting because, again, like I said, we're both from political backgrounds, so our kids have been around politics their whole entire life. My kids don't like politics, by the way. We absolutely don't.
Perhaps
Simply
because they're still very young.
Yes, I think it has a lot to do with age, and then also it has a lot to do with the fact that when you're a close knit family, they suffer the losses with you and they enjoy the victories with you. If you know.
And I'm just wondering, you're so passionate, and how do you relax? Because I know politics is
How do you
something
relax?
that
We travel a lot. I travel a lot. So the
that's
minute-
another stress on
Yeah.
its own.
No, it's not. But the best times for me and my family and my husband is when I'm not in the country.
I like the way you
Because-
put it. My husband and my family, like they're 2 different entities.
Because sometimes you have to. The way I look at life is that I believe, inshallah, this is my prayer. My kids will evolve, they'll grow up. They'll
Thank
have their
you.
own
I actually
they'll
needed
have
you to
their
say
own
that.
lives. And then I would still have my life with my husband.
And then
So-
if you didn't take care of the husband at that time, when the kids
Exactly,
were
how do
growing
you-
up,
And if you don't already have that bond, you can't start it at this, old age where everybody's doing their, then you'll be lonely, So I try as much as possible to do the entire summer holiday with my kids. That has always been our thing. So we explore, my kids speak French and Spanish fluently, so we take them to like all these different francophone countries, and then sometimes we do Europe. My mom lives in the UK, so we also do like extended family time in the summer. And another thing that's really good with us is my husband's like an imam, so we all wake up at like 5:30 in the morning to do our own family prayer in the morning, and then we still do our prayer in the car before we get to school. So I like that because I think we're building the right foundation, and soon, before you know it, they're off to boarding school or whatever. So I feel this foundation years we need to make that sacrifice.
you mean you do all of that and you still manage to look very
It
radiant?
helps you actually, doesn't it? Because you do so much running around, there's no time to be sitting at home and getting fat.
And
so
letting
it
the
helps.
calories sit
Exactly.
on
It
you.
actually helps. It helps a lot. It actually helps the fact that, people say, I said, maybe now I don't run after the kids so much because they're grown. My youngest is turning 8 tomorrow actually. So they're grown, they're independent, they do their things themselves and all that. So yeah, we'll see. But maybe we'll have another child. Who knows?
You have another child?
Maybe.
Oh, wow.
Maybe.
Oh, wow.
I'm not 100% sure yet.
Okay, 8 years gap, 10, maybe probably will be 10
No,
years
it's
gap.
good. So you can have like an old age baby in the
Like a
house and
handbag.
No, it's actually not a bad idea.
All right, so it's a good one. Now, I want you, before I leave you, I'm going to still see you at work, but I'd like to know, what would be your pattern advice as a woman leader? I mean, there are a lot of women I interact with every day. Some of them will write to us even as they watch this program. They're almost giving up in life, because they feel they're not catching up the right ropes, they're not handling the right things. And I know in one of your tweets you said if you fail, it doesn't matter. What matters is you getting up and trying again. What advice do you have for such women?
Well, Nigeria is particularly hard. We all know it. But then, even in Nigeria, we look around left and right. You're doing exceptionally well. You're a woman. There's so many women who are doing well, and the women who are doing well do not have 2 heads. For me, I've done so many different businesses. Some I succeeded at, some I did not. There's no harm in failing. Failure is part of the journey to success, and I've always believed that and I keep saying this, our political journey has been very difficult, simply because God has a really great plan. So when you find that life is hard or difficult or not as easy, and you keep going, those are the kind of people that have the greatest life stories. Those are the people that have the most amazing end game. And then another very important thing is find something you like to do. If you find something you like to do, you will do it regardless of if you're making money or not. And after a while, you will make money. When money is not it's weird, but when money is not the core focus, you excel more. When you pin everything back to how much money you're making, it's demoralizing because as businesses, as everyone knows, initially in business, you don't really start off making a lot of money, but you have to keep going. People have to know you for something. You have to distinguish yourself, be true to yourself. You know, people keep saying, "Oh, why do you tie your head like this? Why do you only wear native?" It's who I am. It's how I feel comfortable.
Do they actually do that?
They
But you look
say that.
regal in
Yeah,
it.
but I always wear native. I never wear English clothes, and I'm specific about it simply because I have a smallish stature. So I feel like when I wear, like, normally if I'm out of the country and I'm in like an English attire, I would look a lot younger, which would even be more difficult for me to excel in this, this terrain that I find myself. So I have to even have a more mature, more, a different outlook to life. So
Dressing the way you want to be addressed.
yes, very, very important. Very, very important. Keep pushing.
Okay.
Don't give up, regardless of what happens. Keep pushing.
Wonderful. I'm just wondering, you exude this nature of happiness. What can be done to make you sad?
I don't really think that anyone will annoy me to the point where I would
Take away your joy.
Yeah, I want to take away my joy. Maybe because I'm somewhat selfish. I'm very into myself. I don't really care too much about. It's weird. I tell people I'm content with the little. I don't have to have the whole world, which is why you can't really bribe me. If I want to do something good, I'm going to do it. If I want to do something bad, I'm still going to do it because we're
a bad one.
right? No, I'm being honest. I'm still going to do it regardless of how much it is, because I kind of feel like God has already blessed us abundantly, and the beginning of true greatness is contentment. You need to first of all be okay with where you are while you strive for something greater. So I don't really. My husband happens to be like one of my very best friends. We have our issues, but like, the kind of issues we have, because maybe we're friends even more than we're a couple, but we're
More
really
friends.
We're really friends. We're like partners in crime. That's the summary of it. Because if you do politics with your husband, you have to, typically we're partners in crime. Let's just put it that way. So I think the only things that I kind of find displeasure in, again, is within the political circle, when you just know somebody is doing what is just not right. And I keep saying, I think for me, which is, a lot of people don't believe in fundamental politics of being principled, politics of believing in something, because if they did, we wouldn't switch the way we do. We wouldn't be able to move from the APC to the PDP and vice versa, etc. But I also, and I don't mind being caught on record saying this, I'm beginning to believe that the younger generation, who I believe are the people behind the Labour Party, have started to bring back politics of principle, politics of I believe in something.
I'm going to go to another location and get to see your work. It's lovely. Right? The woman continues in a minute. Don't go away. Tell me a little bit more about your humanitarian jobs.
So we have the Audu Foundation, which I happen to be the chairperson of. We have the only free maternity clinic in Ejuli of local government in Kogi State for women and children. We do childcare, child malnutrition and all that kind of stuff. We've also done a lot we did a lot during the COVID, relief packages and stuff, which I'll send across to you. Recently, about 2 weeks ago, we also did a flood relief program, and we've been in operation since 2016, so it's been a few years now.
Is that a guide to?
So that's the Kogi Industrial Technology Park. A lot of people don't know this, but both me and my husband have a technological background. I studied software engineering with computer science engineering, so we're hoping to build the first industrial and technology park. We already have the land. It's about 200 hectares of land across the Kotonkarafi, so it's on the borders of Abuja and just before you cross into Kogi State. So that's a project that we're working on actively now. One of the things we do, which you may not also know, is that he builds electric vehicles. We have the first set of electric vehicles. We've also modernized the local keke napep. So we have the ones that have the doors, have reverse cameras inside.
Beautiful.
We also have the electric vehicles for farmers. to be able to move their goods locally within the rural areas. We have about 4 different models that we have designed, and we are producing, gradually. At the moment, we have our temporary site, which is at Cairo, where they actually assemble. But this is hopefully going to be our permanent site.
All right.
So thank you.
Thank
for having
you.
us.
And with that kind of spirit, I'll just say that means the future is still yours to conquer, because the hunger is never satiated, the hunger to succeed. So I know you're going to be there. We've been speaking with the women leader North Central, that's of the APC, and she's not just that. She is, very importantly to me, a wife, a mother, an entrepreneur. You've heard it. She is that bridge that builds up and bridges a gap between societies, especially when it involves women. Her name is Princess Audu, Zahra Audu. And it's been a wonderful time with her. We'll see you again next week when we have another exciting personality. If you're wondering, my name still is Elizabeth Abai. Bye for now.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Doctors or that are not married, and they're doing this incredible.
Well, there's a myriad of things. So I think first of all, we have to go back to writer. You are very well known for your teaching skills. Your students speak a whole lot about you.
Miss Nigeria competition.
I said, let's pick them up, let's take them back to Nigeria, and let's teach them a different kind of job.